In the year 2007, the television landscape was brightened by the arrival of a sun-drenched phenomenon known as Benidorm. When the doors to the fictional Solana resort swung open, it didn't just invite viewers into a world of all-inclusive chaos. It created a cultural touchstone with its hilarious exploration of British holidaymakers behaving badly. The show became an instant classic, weaving a tapestry of characters that were at once grotesque, lovable, and deeply relatable. It wasn't merely a commercial triumph. It became a warm, nostalgic memory for a generation, a weekly escape to the Spanish coast that felt like visiting old friends. But behind the sunburn, the karaoke nights, and the poolside bickering stood a cast of actors with destinies far more complex than their on-screen personas. Nearly 2 decades have passed since that premiere, and time has etched its unique marks upon each of them. Some have ascended to the dizzying heights of dramatic acclaim, while others have sought solace in a quieter existence. And heartbreakingly, some were forced to end their journey far too soon. Today, we peel back the curtain of comedy to reveal the human stories beneath. Let us walk together through the poignant, triumphant, and sometimes tragic journeys of the souls who gave Benidorm its life. Jake Canuso as Mateo Castellanos. In the vibrant, chaotic world of the Solana, Mateo Castellanos was the undeniable heartbeat of the pool bar, portrayed as the quintessential Latin lover. Mateo was the charming, sharp-witted, and often vain bartender who could melt hearts with a flash of his smile or a smooth pickup line. He was the heart and soul of the holiday experience for many viewers, a character who balanced arrogance with a strange likability. At the time, Jake Canuso, then 37 years old, inhabited this role with such natural charisma that he became an instant sex symbol. His performance was electric, capturing the essence of a man who believed he was God's gift to women, yet delivering it with a comedic timing that made Mateo endearing rather than insufferable. However, the road to becoming the carefree Mateo was paved with a trauma that few could imagine. Long before he donned the tight shirts of the Solana, Jake faced a life-altering ordeal. In 2004, while vacationing on the tranquil island of Koh Phraya Thong in Thailand, he found himself in the path of the devastating Indian Ocean tsunami. When the waters began to recede ominously, survival instinct took over. He climbed a tree in a desperate bid for safety, but the sheer force of nature was unforgiving. The trunk snapped, and he was swept into a terrifying, powerful whirlpool. He narrowly escaped death that day. But the ocean left a deep psychological scar. For years, a paralyzing fear of water haunted him. A cruel irony for an actor who would find his greatest fame filming next to a swimming pool and the sea. This near-death experience fundamentally shifted his perspective, instilling in him a profound respect for time and a fierce determination to live fully in the present. Following the immense success of Benidorm, Jake's career did not stagnate. He proved his versatility, moving beyond the bar to appear in projects like The Royal Scarborough and the film adaptation of Kinky Boots. He even returned to the stage, bringing his energy to pantomimes such as Aladdin. Yet the glare of the spotlight often cast long shadows over his personal life. The demands of the industry, endless tours, grueling filming schedules, and the nomadic nature of an actor's life took a toll on his heart. Jake has been candid about the difficulty of maintaining lasting romantic relationships when work constantly demands priority. Despite the adoration of fans, he has confessed to feelings of profound loneliness, a poignant reminder that fame does not immunize one against isolation. In 2025, now in his mid-50s, Jake Canuso remains a testament to resilience. He defies his age with a rigorous fitness regime, maintaining the physique that once made Mateo famous. From his early days performing with icons like the Spice Girls and Elton John to his current status as a beloved television figure, his journey has been one of constant reinvention. With an estimated net worth of $2 million, he has built a comfortable life. Yet, he continues to work with the hunger of a newcomer. He stands today, not just as the bartender we loved, but as a survivor who looked death in the face and chose to keep dancing, proving that even after the wildest storms, the sun can indeed shine again. Siobhan Finneran as Janice Garvey. In the chaotic ecosystem of the Solana Resort, Janice Garvey was the formidable anchor portrayed by Siobhan Finneran. Janice was the fiery, sharp-tongued, yet fiercely protective matriarch of the Garvey clan. At 41, Siobhan infused the character with a grounded realism that resonated with millions. She was the exhausted mother trying to keep her family together amidst the madness. Her performance was the show's emotional spine, providing a perfect counterweight to the absurdity around her. She was not just funny, she was real capable of delivering a withering put-down one moment and a scene of genuine tenderness the next. While Janice Garvey navigated the comic disasters of family holidays, Siobhan was navigating the complex reality of a working mother in the entertainment industry. Since the late 90s, she had made the difficult choice to scale back her career, turning down roles to raise her 2 children, with her husband, actor Mark Jordan. It was a juggling act familiar to many, but played out under the public gaze. For nearly 17 years, they were a power couple of British TV, but life, as it often does, took a divergent path. In 2014, their marriage ended, leaving Siobhan to grapple with profound emotional loss and the challenge of rebuilding her personal life. Yet she handled this transition with immense grace, maintaining a respectful co-parenting relationship and channeling her emotions into her art. Leaving Benidorm was a pivotal and painful decision. She described the cast, particularly her on-screen husband Steve Pemberton, as a second family. Walking away from the safety of a hit show was a gamble, but it was one that paid off spectacularly. Siobhan didn't just continue working, she soared. She shed the flip-flops of Janice Garvey to inhabit the brooding, complex world of Happy Valley as Claire Cartwright, a role that earned her a BAFTA nomination and the spiteful Sarah O'Brien in Downton Abbey. These roles revealed a dramatic range that stunned critics, proving she was one of the finest character actresses of her generation. Today, in 2025, at the age of 58, Siobhan Finneran stands at the peak of her powers. She has successfully transitioned from a sitcom favorite to a heavyweight of British drama. But her success is not measured merely by awards or her estimated $3 million net worth. It is found in her quiet dedication to others, particularly her patronage of the Contact Hostel for homeless young women in Manchester. Siobhan's journey is a masterclass in dignity and evolution. She is a woman who turned personal heartbreak and professional risks into a narrative of empowerment, proving that the second act of life can be even more brilliant than the first. Jeffrey Hutchings as Mel Harvey. When Jeffrey Hutchings arrived in Benidorm in 2007, he was already a veteran of the stage and screen, but the role of Mel Harvey introduced him to a whole new legion of fans. As the suntanned mobility scooter-driving owner of 5 sunbed shops, Mel was a glorious creation, a man of endless optimism and questionable business schemes. Jeffrey, at 68, played him with a twinkle in his eye, creating a character who was oblivious to his own ridiculousness but deeply lovable for his devotion to his prickly wife, Madge. He was the grandfather figure who was always game for a laugh, and his presence added a layer of warmth to the show's biting comedy. Off-screen, Jeffrey's life was a testament to the healing power of love. After a failed first marriage, he found his true north with Andrea Godfrey in 1988. Andrea was his sanctuary, the calming force who supported him through the immense pressures of a career that saw him tackling heavyweight roles on the West End stage. By the time he joined Benidorm, Jeffrey was enjoying an Indian summer in his career. The show reinvigorated him, offering a fun, light-hearted respite from the intensity of theater. He was beloved by the cast, a gentleman of the old school who brought professionalism and joy to the set every day. The future looked bright for Mel Harvey. The scripts were written, the arcs were planned, and Jeffrey was preparing to fly out to film the highly anticipated Christmas special. He was full of energy, his diary packed with work and his passion for acting undimmed by age. Life seemed to be moving forward with a comforting predictability, but fate, cruel and unpredictable, intervened with shocking suddenness. In the summer of 2011, a mere 9 days before his 71st birthday, Jeffrey was hospitalized with a sudden viral infection. It was swift and merciless. On the morning of July 1st, Jeffrey Hutchings passed away from meningitis. The news sent shockwaves through the industry and devastated his Benidorm family. The scripts had to be frantically rewritten, and the character of Mel, Harvey, was killed off-screen, dying on a business trip, a fictional echo of the real tragedy. One moment he was there, vibrant and preparing to entertain the nation, and the next, he was gone. He left behind a legacy of laughter and an estimated fortune of $1 million. But more importantly, he left the memory of a man who played every role until the very final curtain fell. Janine Duvitsky as Jacqueline Stewart. Janine Duvitsky is a master of the peculiar. In Benidorm, she played Jacqueline Stewart, the other half of the swinging duo. With her distinctively breathy voice and wide-eyed innocence, Jacqueline spoke about the most scandalous sexual escapades as if she were discussing a recipe for scones. Janine, at 55, crafted a character that was a paradox, sweet, yet debauched, naive, yet experienced. She was the perfect comedic partner to Kenny Ireland, and together they created magic. Her ability to deliver outrageous lines with a straight face made Jacqueline one of the most quotable and beloved characters in the series. But the real Janine Duvitsky could not be more different from the swinging Jacqueline. In an industry notorious for broken relationships, Janine boasts a rare and beautiful achievement, a marriage that has lasted over 4 decades. Since 1983, she has been married to actor Paul Bental, and together they have raised a creative dynasty of 4 children. Her home life is not filled with pineapple parties, but with the warmth of a close-knit family. Her daughter Ruby has followed her onto the screen and her daughter Edith onto the stage. As a musician, this stable, grounded family life has been the secret weapon of her career. Janine has often credited her family as her anchor. Knowing she has a safe harbor allowed her to sail into the wildest, weirdest roles without fear. Could be the oddball on screen because she was the rock at home. The contrast between her public persona and private life is a testament to her acting ability. She convinces us she is eccentric, when in fact she is the picture of normalcy and devotion. In 2025, at 72, Janine is still captivating audiences. She has aged with a grace that defies the industry's obsession with youth, continuing to work in theater, film, and television. Her net worth sits around $1 million, a modest sum for a talent so immense, but one suspects her true riches are counted in family dinners and shared laughter. She remains a shining example that you can be a character actress of the highest order and still live a quiet, happy, and remarkably normal life. Tony Maudsley as Kenneth Dubecki. When Tony Maudsley sashayed into the blow-and-go salon in 2011, Benidorm found a new vibrancy as Kenneth Dubecki, the hairdresser with a penchant for hot pants and biting wit. Tony was a larger-than-life explosion of camp energy. At 43, he embraced the role with a fearlessness that was magnetic. Kenneth was loud, proud, and unapologetically himself, becoming a confidant to the other characters and a favorite for the audience. Tony's comedic timing was razor-sharp, turning every haircut into a scene of hilarity. Yet to pigeonhole Tony as just a comedic actor would be a grave mistake. Before the hot pants, he was a serious dramatic actor with a pedigree from the Royal Academy of Music and Dramatic Art. He had chilled audiences to the bone as Stefan Kisko in the film The Dead, a role for which he won a Royal Television Society Award. The transition from intense drama to the high camp of Benidorm speaks to a chameleon-like ability that few possess. However, the pressure to entertain is a heavy one. Tony has spoken about the stress of high-profile projects and the grueling nature of pantomime seasons where he often played the dame, carrying entire shows on his shoulders night after night. Behind the laughter, Tony is a workhorse. He admits to the anxiety of tight deadlines and the weight of audience expectation. The constant need to be the funny man, the life of the party, can be exhausting. But Tony possesses a stamina born of true passion. After hanging up Kenneth's scissors, he didn't slow down. He moved to the cobbles of Coronation Street as George Shuttleworth, cementing his place in another British institution. In 2025, at 56, Tony Maudsley is a ubiquitous presence on British TV. He has navigated the treacherous waters of typecasting to show he can do it. All his estimated net worth of $2 million is the result of decades of saying yes to the work, whether it be Shakespeare or slapstick. He is a man who brings sunshine with him, hiding the hard work and sweat behind a dazzling smile, ensuring that the show, whatever it may be, always goes on. Kenny Ireland as Donald Stewart. When Kenny Ireland stepped onto the set of Benidorm in 2007 at the age of 62, he brought with him a warmth that was instantly palpable. As Donald Stewart, he played one half of the show's most eccentric couple. Donald was a cheerful, open-minded swinger, a man who, alongside his wife Jacqueline, found himself in the most risque situations, yet navigated them with a charming innocence and unfailing politeness. Kenny's portrayal was a masterclass in comedic subtlety. He made a character that could have been creepy into someone deeply lovable. He was the giggle in the corner, the mischievous wink, and an integral part of the show's golden era. But the laughter Donald provoked was a stark contrast to the sorrow that marked Kenny's own beginnings. Born in Paisley, Scotland, his life began with a void. His father, an RAF bomber pilot, was killed on a secret mission when Kenny was a mere 5 months old, raised by a resilient mother in difficult circumstances. Kenny found his refuge in the arts. He didn't just become an actor, he became a titan of Scottish theatre. For over a decade, he served as the artistic director of the Royal Lyceum Theatre in Edinburgh, a prestigious role that came with crushing burdens, budgetary wars, bureaucratic disputes, and the immense stress of leadership. Behind the scenes, his heart also weathered storms. His first marriage ended in separation, a painful chapter that eventually led him to Meg Poole. His second wife, Meg, became his rock, standing by him as he transitioned from the high-stress world of theater management to the sunnier climes of television comedy. For years, it seemed that Kenny had found his perfect third act. He was beloved by his castmates, adored by fans, and enjoying a career renaissance late in life. He and Meg navigated the industry together, finding joy in the work. The character of Donald Stewart felt like a celebration of life's oddities, mirroring Kenny's own embrace of the unconventional. He was a man who lived to entertain, masking the fatigue of age with the energy of a true performer. However, this vibrant journey was destined for a sudden and heartbreaking halt. In June 2014, the laughter was silenced by a devastating diagnosis: terminal brain cancer. The decline was cruel and rapid. Just weeks after the news, his health deteriorated so severely that he was forced to leave the show that had become his second home. In a touching final act of solidarity, the production team arranged for his character Donald to say goodbye via a telephone call, a scene that carried the heavy weight of reality for the cast and crew. On July 31, 2014, surrounded by the legacy of a life dedicated to art, Kenny Ireland passed away in London at the age of 68. The silence he left behind was deafening, a void that no punchline could fill. He left us not just a catalog of roles, but a lesson in kindness and the enduring power of a smile. Steve Pemberton as Mick Garvey. Steve Pemberton's portrayal of Mick Garvey was a cornerstone of Benidorm's success. As the head of the dysfunctional Garvey family, Mick was the embodiment of the put-upon dad. Lazy, sarcastic, occasionally scamming, but ultimately devoted to his chaotic brood. Steve, then 40, brought a comedic weight to the role that grounded the show. While Mick was often trying to avoid doing anything resembling effort, Steve's performance was anything but lazy. His timing was impeccable, and his chemistry with Siobhan Finneran created one of the most believable marriages on television. However, behind Mick's vacuous stare and sunburnt nose lay one of the sharpest minds in British entertainment. Steve was never just an actor, he was a creator. Already famous for The League of Gentlemen, he spent his time away from the Solana writing and developing dark, complex narratives like Psychoville, and later The Masterpiece. Inside No. 9. The pressure on him was immense. He was constantly toggling between the broad, sunny comedy of Benidorm and the dark, psychological depths of his own writing. The physical and mental toll of this dual existence, writing late into the night, filming all day, and traveling constantly, was a heavy burden. Leaving Benidorm was not a decision taken lightly. It was a wrenching departure from a character he had inhabited for nearly a decade and a cast he adored. He confessed to a deep sadness in saying goodbye to the family he had built on set. Yet the artist in him needed to grow. He returned to London, to his partner Alison Rawls and their 3 children, seeking to balance the demands of a high-flying career with the grounding reality of fatherhood. This balance has been his greatest challenge and his greatest triumph. By 2025, at 57 years old, Steve Pemberton has firmly established himself as a national treasure. He broke out of Mick Garvey's shadow not by rejecting it, but by showing the world what else he could do. His work on Inside No. 9 earned him a BAFTA, cementing his status as a genius of storytelling, who can weave horror, comedy, and tragedy into a single half hour. With a net worth of around $4 million, he has achieved financial success. But his true value lies in his fearless creativity. He is a man who walked away from the easy comfort of a hit sitcom to chase the darker, more difficult stories in his head, and in doing so, enriched the landscape of television for us all. Sherry Hewson as Joyce Temple Savage. Sherry Hewson joined the cast in 2012 as Joyce Temple Savage, the posh, stressed, and often chaotic manager of the Solana. At 62, Sherry brought a frantic energy to this role that was hilarious to watch. Joyce was a woman constantly on the verge of a breakdown, trying to maintain an air of sophistication, while the resort crumbled around her. It was a role that required a delicate balance of authority and vulnerability, and Sherry nailed it. But if Joyce's life was chaotic, it paled in comparison to the turbulence of Sherry's own reality. Her life story reads like a dramatic script filled with incredible highs and devastating lows. Behind the glamorous facade lies a survivor of domestic abuse. She has bravely opened up about a violent relationship with a partner who physically assaulted her, leaving scars that went far deeper than the physical. She was stalked, harassed, and made to live in fear. Her romantic life brought further pain with 2 failed marriages, the second of which ended after a heartbreaking confession of infidelity. Financially, too, she has faced the abyss. In 2007, despite being a household name, Sherry declared bankruptcy, describing it as a terrible, contagious disease that stripped her of her security. It takes a specific kind of strength to stand in front of a camera and make millions laugh when your own world is falling apart. But that is exactly what Sherry did. She used work as her lifeline, her way of reclaiming control. In 2025, at 74, Sherry Hewson is as defiant and visible as ever. She sparked conversation by publicly admitting to plastic surgery, refusing to fade quietly into the background. She continues to appear on Hollyoaks and talk shows, her estimated net worth of $3 million restored through sheer grit. Sherry is not just an actress, she is a warrior. She has walked through fire, bankruptcy, abuse, betrayal, and emerged not bitter but bold. Her journey reminds us that no matter how hard life hits, we have the power to fix our lipstick smile at the camera and keep going. Tim Healy as Les and Leslie Conroy. Tim Healy's entrance into Benidorm in 2009 introduced a character that was both a comedic device and a surprisingly touching figure. As Les Conroy and his cross-dressing alter ego, Leslie Tim played a man who was simply trying to make a living and raise his son in the chaos of the resort. At 57, Tim took a role that could have easily been a one-note joke and filled it with dignity. Leslie, with his wigs and sensible skirts, was treated not with mockery, but with affection. He was the kind, weary staff member who had seen it all, and Tim's understated acting brought a genuine warmth to the role. However, the man behind the wigs was fighting battles that the cameras never saw. Tim was one half of a celebrity power couple married to actress Denise Welch for 24 years. Together, they raised 2 sons, including Maddie Healy, who would go on to global fame as the frontman of the 1975, but the pressure of life in the public eye is a heavy weight. The final years of their marriage were marred by intense work schedules, media scrutiny, and the inevitable drift that comes when two lives are pulled in different directions. Their separation in 2012 was a painful public unraveling of a long shared history. Furthermore, Tim's health became a serious concern. During his time on Benidorm, he suffered a severe illness that saw him hospitalized in Spain, fighting for his life while the production held its breath. It was a terrifying period that highlighted the fragility of life. Yet Tim is a fighter, from the Northeast, built of stern stuff. He recovered, and in his personal life he found a second chance at happiness with Joan Anderton, whom he married in 2015. Joan became his sanctuary, providing the peace and stability he needed to heal and balance his world. Now, in 2025, at 72 years old, Tim Healy remains a beloved fixture of the industry. He has weathered the storms of divorce, illness, and the fickle nature of fame to emerge as a respected elder statesman of acting. His performance style, simple, sincere, and deeply human, remains his trademark, with a net worth of $2 million. He has reaped the rewards of his labor, but his legacy is in his resilience. He showed us that a man can wear a dress on national television and retain his dignity, and that a man can face the darkest of days and still come back to make us smile. Sheila Reid as Madge Harvey. There are few characters in British television history as instantly recognizable as Madge Harvey. With her deeply tanned, leathery skin, her permanent scowl, and her electric wheelchair zooming through the salon, Madge was a force of nature. Sheila Reid, who took on the role at the age of 70, delivered a performance that was nothing short of iconic. Madge was mean, sharp-tongued, and chain-smoking, yet Sheila imbued her with a fierce, undeniable resilience that commanded respect. She was the grandmother everyone feared but secretly admired for her refusal to care what anyone thought. The irony of this portrayal is that, in reality, Sheila Reid is the antithesis of Madge. She is a classically trained actress with a gentle demeanor, veteran of the Royal Shakespeare Company, who has spent a lifetime dedicated to the nuance of the craft. To become Madge, she had to shed all vanity, allowing herself to look weathered and harsh, a transformation that speaks volumes about her commitment to her art. Her personal life, too, tells a story of patience and enduring love. While Madge's romantic life was often a punchline, Sheila found deep happiness with Terry Bullen, whom she married in 2008, proving that love and new beginnings have no expiration date. The physical demands of playing a character like Madge, often in the scorching Spanish heat, dealing with the mechanics of the wheelchair and the high energy of the scenes, would have exhausted a person half her age. Yet Sheila has never let the number of her years dictate her limits. She has admitted that acting is her escape, a way to transcend the insecurities of life. But it is also her greatest challenge, requiring a stamina that she maintains with admirable discipline. In 2025, at the astounding age of 87, Sheila Reid is not resting. She continues to grace our screens and stages, recently appearing in The Cleaner and returning to her roots with the Royal Shakespeare Company. Her estimated net worth of $2 million is a byproduct of 6 decades of work, but her real wealth is her spirit. She stands as a beacon for every artist who fears aging, proving that creativity does not wither, it merely evolves. Sheila Reid is living proof that passion is the true elixir of youth, and that one can be a sweet, elegant lady in real life while playing the toughest old bird on TV.